My comments have been absolutely blowing up with people asking me to react to someone called Oliver Anthony and a track called Richmond. I've never heard of Oliver before, so this is a new one to me. And let's see what this is all about. Oh, and if you're new here, my name is Stuart. I'm a practicing psychotherapist based in the UK. I work with people who have experienced trauma, but over the years I've worked with people who have experienced or are experiencing a wide range of difficulties. And I try to frame my reactions around what I've seen in my clinical practice and around psychological frameworks. And I also have some more specific mental health videos which are still a work in progress to try and help people who are struggling. So check them out if you think they might be helpful to you. Right, let's get into this.
I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay, so I can sit out here and waste my life away, drag back home and drown my troubles away. It's a damn shame what the world's gotten to.
We have some country. First time on the Stuart J. Randall channel, we have some country. I spent many hours sat with my granddad listening to a bit of Kenny Rogers, The Gambler, Reuben James, Ruby Don't Take Your Love to Town, The Coward of the County. Those songs are pretty much on repeat. And of course the legendary Johnny Cash with a great song that I remember called Chicken in Black, where he has his brain swapped with a chicken's brain. Love the humour there. Good times. Rest in peace, Grandad. So loads of love here for some country. And if I know country, there's going to be a story here. There's going to be a message. And that voice, I haven't even got into the lyrics yet, but like a lot of songs I react to, you can hear there's pain there. This is going to be good. This is going to be meaningful. And I did catch some lyrics. He's been working, selling his soul, working all day, and for what? But look where he's chosen to perform this, outside in nature. No one else around. It seems lovely, calm and peaceful. He looks like he's in his element here. This is where he wants to be, like he belongs here. Right, let's just listen to some of that again, because I didn't catch all of it. I was too busy looking at the scenery and him. Let's get some of these words. What's he talking about?
I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay, so I can sit out here and waste my life away, drag back home and drown my troubles away. It's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me, people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is living in the new.
Working all day doing something he doesn't want to do and selling his soul for what? Poor pay? Wasting his life? Not feeling fulfilled in life, especially through work, is a very common theme that I see in my private practice. People stuck in jobs they hate. And you know, most people spend 8, 10, 12 hours a day at work. It's a very big proportion of one's life. And I always hear this advice of just go to work hard, come home and forget about it. And I don't get that. I can't see how that is possible. I'm sure some people might be able to do that, but I can't. My work and my life are so intertwined that they just can't be separated into two distinct things. And sometimes it feels safer to be in a poor position that you know is poor than to risk potentially jumping into something even worse. You know, it's kind of this better the devil you know kind of thing. And that's hard. He's making a really good point there. I wonder if this is something that he's personally experienced as a musician, or whether this is something that he's picked up on from talking to other people. I'd be interested to know that. I don't know anything about him. Let's just go back a bit.
People like you, wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is living in the new world with an whole soul. These rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have total control.
Ooh.
Wanna know what you think.
Oh, okay. Living in the new world with an old soul. Who can relate to this, especially as they get older? You know, my daughter spends a lot of time talking to her friends on things like Snapchat and WhatsApp, which I totally get. You know, that's how social media works, and that's how people stay in contact these days. But when I was a kid, back in the day when I was a kid, We had to cycle round actual friends' houses to knock on the door and see if they were in and if they wanted to do something. And we'd spend all day outside meeting up with, you know, different friends and different groups of friends and playing some football, that kind of thing. And the friendship group, you know, the social group was relatively small. Nowadays with social media, it's completely nuts. When I start working with teenagers, I first meet them and I try to understand what their life is like and what it's like to be them. And I always ask them about social groups and peer groups and friends. And the amount of people I come across who say they have friends, but then when you dig down into it, they aren't friends who they physically see. They are online friends who they only know through, you know, Call of Duty or gaming or Discord or something like that. But then again, I can only see this through my 41-year-old eyes and my 41-year-old brain. And maybe this is the way it is now in these days, but it feels like we've lost this really close social connections that we used to have. And the research tells us it's the quality, not the quantity of social connections we have that predicts our well-being. The quality, how close, how safe, how much do you trust these people? Are they there for you during both the good and the bad times? That's what counts. But maybe I'm just an old soul in a new world. And my geographical knowledge of America is pretty poor, so I'm not sure exactly where Richmond is or much about it. I could look it up, but I would love some real life perspectives in the comments if you have any. But I can make an educated guess that this is probably somewhere where lots of politicians are, where there might be kind of a lot of power, where lots of decision making is made. I'm guessing it's that kind of place. But like I said, please let me know. Let's just go back here a bit. Loving this so far though. It's kind of very thought-provoking.
Just wanna have total control. Wanna soul. There's rich men north of Richmond. Lord knows they all just wanna have total control. Wanna know what you think. Wanna know what you do. And they don't think you know, but I know that you do. 'Cause your dollar ain't shit, and it's taxed to no.
I absolutely love that lines there and what he's saying. They want to have control. They want to know what you think, what you do, and they think that you don't know. And if you've listened to my Sick Boy by Ren reaction, you'll know my thoughts on the relationship between the pharmaceutical companies, the government, and the media. And I'm being quite cautious here as I don't want to turn this into talking about my own political opinions, because that's not what my channel's about. But I also want to acknowledge some truth here, that the world does run on money and power, and not the overall well-being of humans. You know, they want to know what we think. Is this talking about how everything we do is tracked? Everything we do, especially online, is tracked and sold? They are learning our habits and our interests and our social status and how we live our lives and what we spend our money on, so we can be targeted even more. Reminds me of that phrase, if a product is free, then we are the product. And even if it's not free, I guess our data is still being used and not for our benefit, although it may be suggested that it is. And we know, most people know, but a lot of people don't seem to care. They just want that free app. They want that free social media account to fit in, or due to fear or fear of missing out. And we are being psychologically manipulated to stay on these platforms. You know, there's this book by Johann Hari, and it's called Stolen Focus, which I absolutely loved. You should check it out if you get the time. And he says he interviewed, I think it was a Google or a Facebook engineer. I think it was a Google engineer. And he was saying how they prioritize content that make people angry, as their research has shown that that's what keeps people on the platform, which means more ad money. But there's this really important point here, and from my perspective as a therapist, and this is addressed in Johann's book, and he cites research that tells us that when the person puts down their phone, the anger doesn't go with it. They remain angry. So just think about that for a second. Think about how your emotional state is being purposely manipulated to your detriment for the benefit of someone making money. It's crazy. And we put up with it. And people are willing to accept this. And I'm guilty of this too. But at what point does it end? Where does this lead to? I dread to think. He's right though, it's all about control and power and money.
What you do, and they don't think you know, but I know that you do, 'cause your dollar ain't shit, and it's taxed to no end, 'cause the rich men, 'cause the rich men. I wish politicians would look out for minors, not just minors on an island somewhere.
Ooh.
Lord, we got...
Well, hold on. Minors and the island? Is that what I think he means? You know, it needs to be said. I have a lot of respect for people who tell it how it is and go to those places that are going to cause some controversy, but need to be said. That one line is going to ruffle some feathers, I think, and I won't be surprised if someone tries to silence this whole song because of that line, because that's what happens, isn't it? Earlier, he was saying the government and politicians want total control and power. Well, they try to do this through controlling the narrative of nearly everything, you know, through censorship, through silencing, through what's shown on mainstream media. Is that going to happen here? Are they going to try and silence this? I'd be really interested. That line, woo!
Just minors on an island somewhere. Lord, we got folks in the street, ain't got nothing to eat, and the obese milking welfare. Well, God, if you're 5'3" and you're 300 pounds, taxes ought not to pay for your bags of fudge rounds. Young men are putting them.
Hold on.
Well, God, if you're 5'3" and you're 300 pounds, taxes ought not to pay for your bags of fudge rounds. Young men are putting them.
Right, let's talk about that. Did he just... Yeah, okay. People aren't going to like that, I don't think. That's going to be controversial. So it's bringing to our attention that we have people on the street starving. And on the other end of the spectrum, we have people who are obese. And the people on the street aren't getting the help and support they need. They're still homeless. And that's got to be incredibly difficult for them. And then there are people who are obese, but they are getting support of the government through benefits. And that support is sometimes maintaining their obesity. So there's a real disparity there of how welfare funding is being divided. And I'm going to be really interested to see the comments for this part. I think it might be quite divided. And what you think about this. I have a few thoughts about this, but I don't think I can articulate it very well right in this moment on the spot. But some things my mind is bringing up for me right now is there needs to be some caution in applying population studies and data to people on an individual level. So I know people who are obese who come to me for work around improving their confidence, improving motivation to stick with training plans and nutrition plans, you know, finding other ways to manage their emotions and process their trauma other than eating, because, you know, eating can be a response to that. And they are working really hard to get themselves in a more healthy place. Then there's probably people out there who want to take the welfare money and spend it on food just because they genuinely like eating and they don't care too much about their health. And that does seem somewhat unfair for welfare money to go towards that. But then a part of me thinks that the government is giving them money and they have the right to spend that money how they want. I then think that's probably not good use of that money. Perhaps the government should restrict it or place restrictions on it somehow. But then we are back at this tracking thing. You know, the government would have to track how that money is being spent. And then we get to being sanctioned, you know, if you don't spend the money how the government wants you to spend it, and then it gets withdrawn. So then we're back to social control, which I'm not a big fan of. What I do know is, though, that I help individuals the best I can to move their life forward in a meaningful way. That's my focus. And I can have these big emotional reactions to these things. But when I sit down and I try and think about it on a more intellectual and kind of practical level, I tie myself up in knots. Let me know what you think again in the comments. Didn't mean to do that. Let me know what you think in the comments. There's so much to kind of unpick. Big picture stuff.
If you're 5'3" and you're 300 pounds, taxes ought not to pay for your bags of the fudge rounds. Young men are putting themselves 6 feet in the ground, 'cause all this damn country does is keep on kicking them down. Lord, it's a damn shame.
The situation has got so bad that people are taking their lives, as they think that's a better option than living in the circumstances and the pain and the suffering they're currently in. Maybe they don't want to end it. You know, that's quite often the case from people I've worked with, who I've spoken to, who have thoughts like this. I see this almost on a daily basis. It's not that they want to end it, it's that they don't know how to live with the pain day to day and the struggles that they have, and they see no hope of that changing in the future. And that's really, really sad.
What the world's gotten to for people like me, people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is. Living in the new world with an whole soul. These rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just want to have total control. Want to know what you think, want to know what you do, and they don't think you know, but I know that you do, 'cause your dollar ain't shit, and it's taxed to no end, 'cause the rich men, north of Richmond. I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay.
Those dogs are loving life, aren't they? Dogs don't care about mortgages and taxes and whether people are homeless or not, and whether people are spending money on fudge. They just look calm and relaxed. They look like they're living their best lives. Oh, how that would be. What can I say about this? I love that. As someone who grew up listening to a lot of Rage Against the Machine and the kind of political nature of their music and that kind of message, I absolutely love this. You know, this is what music is about, isn't it? Talking about genuine human experience, using it to express what's going on in the world and sending a message. I'm going to follow this chap to see what happens with this. Are we going to see more of him? If he doesn't put out any more content similar to this, does that mean someone's got to him, you know, had a little word in his ear? I'll be following this with interest. Thank you for bringing this to my attention. Juice WRLD lovers, there's more on the way. Ren lovers, there's more on the way. 21 Pilot lovers, there's more on the way. NF lovers, more on the way. The one person who messaged me about Korn, I think it's the Daddy track, potentially. Any more love for Korn out there? You know, let me know. That's it. Take care, everyone. Goodbye.